Am I the bad guy for forcing my wife to choose between our marriage and having more kids? So, here's the situation. My wife and I are both 31. Been married for 8 years, and we have 2 kids, one is 4 years old and the other is under 1. When we first got married and started talking about kids, we were both pretty much on the same page. We didn't want a huge family, but more than 1 kid was definitely the plan. The way we saw it, we'd take things as they came, figure it out while we were in the thick of it. Fast forward, second child arrives, and I thought, okay, 2 is enough for me. I was pretty sure about it. I told my wife that after this baby, I was done having kids. She said that was okay at the time, maybe because she was tired, or maybe because she was just riding the wave of newborn exhaustion like me. But now, about 6 months ago, she dropped a bombshell. She wants at least 1 more child. Just like that, a complete 180 from what we both agreed on. And honestly, it blindsided me. I tried to be calm about it, told her I understood her feelings, but I still couldn't do it. I just can't imagine going through all of it again, the pregnancy, the sleepless nights, the endless demands, and the massive lifestyle shift. She didn't just drop it and accept my answer. Instead, she started trying to negotiate. She asked me, almost pleading, "What can I do to change your mind?" And that's when the suggestions started pouring in. First, she said we could enroll the kids in daycare 5 days a week, no matter if we were working or not. That way, we'd have more free time, she explained, like that was supposed to fix everything. Then, she suggested we could lean more on our families. Have them babysit more often. Like, they love the kids anyway, so why not give ourselves some breathing room? Finally, she mentioned going back to her old job. The one she hated so much she practically celebrated quitting. A job she used to complain about constantly. She promised she'd do it if it meant we could afford the extra help and the cost of another child. She swore she wouldn't mind going back, that it would be worth it. I believe she meant it. I really do. She's not the kind of person to lie about that kind of thing. But here's the kicker, I don't think that would help us out long term. She'd just be miserable and stressed, and honestly, that stress would probably bleed into every part of our lives. I can see it now, the endless exhaustion, the resentment building up slowly, and neither of us would come out happy. At one point, she even suggested that I didn't need to be all in for more than the 2 kids we already have. Like, she said she'd understand if I was less hands-on with a 3rd child, that the next one would mostly be her baby, and that she'd take on the responsibility. I remember just sitting there, stunned. That idea horrified me. It felt so wrong. How could anyone even think it's okay to treat one child differently? To decide beforehand that one kid gets all the love and attention while the other is, well, less important? That wasn't the family I wanted to build. When she said it, she was so calm and matter-of-fact, like it was some logical compromise. But to me, it was like a line had been crossed. I told her straight up how shocked and hurt I was that she even suggested that. I said, "That's not a family. That's a nightmare waiting to happen." I told her I couldn't imagine raising a child who felt like they were second best or an afterthought, and if we were going to do this, it had to be all of us, equally, or not at all. I could see the frustration in her eyes after I said that. But honestly, I was too overwhelmed by the idea to back down or soften my stance. It just didn't sit right with me, not one bit. The reasons I'm done with having more kids aren't simple or just one thing, it's like a messy pile of everything that's happened over the years. And honestly, it all adds up in a way that makes me feel like 2 is absolutely enough. One of the biggest things is how tough those pregnancies were on my wife. Both were incredibly difficult, but the second one, the one when our youngest was born, was especially hard. I don't think anyone outside our family really understood how much of a roller coaster it was. During her last pregnancy, there was a period when she got hospitalized. That was probably the most stressful time for me, maybe in my whole life. It wasn't just about her being sick, it was about holding everything together when it felt like everything was falling apart. Our oldest was just a toddler then, and they missed their mom desperately. Every time I tried to soothe them, they'd cry for her, and I hated feeling like I couldn't replace her love and comfort. I was running back and forth between hospital visits, work, and home, trying to keep things afloat. I wanted to be there for my wife, cheering her on, encouraging her to stay strong, reminding her she wasn't alone. But I also had to keep the house running and make sure the kids were fed, bathed, and safe. At the same time, I had a full-time job demanding my time and energy. I was stretched so thin I barely recognized myself. To make things worse, there was a big fallout between me and my wife's sister around that time. She had expected me to step in and babysit the kids on 3 different occasions while my wife was in the hospital. But honestly, I just couldn't. I was already juggling a million things and felt like I was drowning. That led to a huge disagreement that, frankly, we've never really recovered from. Now, whenever I see her, it's like we're just 2 strangers who happen to be polite in passing. No warmth, no "hey, how are you," like before. We keep things civil, but that's about it. The friendly relationship we had just vanished. And that's another weight on my shoulders. It's not just about me and my wife anymore, the ripple effects are everywhere. Another reason is the money. Man, money is a huge factor here, probably more than people realize. We already spend a ton on childcare. I mean, it's not cheap by any stretch. Our kids go to a pretty decent daycare, and even with that, the bills stack up every month like a mountain I can climb over. Then I think about adding a 3rd kid into the mix, how much more would that cost? It's honestly overwhelming just to imagine it. And it's not just daycare. We've got all the usual stuff, diapers, clothes that they grow out of every few months, food, school supplies, doctor visits. One of our kids has some ongoing medical issues. It's nothing life-threatening, thank God, but they need regular medications and occasional checkups, and those things aren't cheap. I want to make sure they get the best care possible without us going broke every month. Then there's the future. I think about college funds, activities, little things like music lessons or sports camps. I want to give our kids opportunities to do what they love without having to scrimp or stress every time something comes up. And if we had a 3rd kid, it would stretch everything so thin. I want to be able to save steadily for their futures, not just keep juggling bills and hoping something doesn't come up unexpectedly to derail us. So, overall, financially, I feel way more comfortable with us having 2 kids. I want to provide stability and some breathing room, not constant financial panic. The other part is time. Time feels so precious, and so scarce. Between work, school runs, bedtime stories, meal prep, doctor appointments, and everything else, our schedule is jam-packed. Parenting small kids is exhausting. I mean really exhausting. It takes so much energy, mental, emotional, physical, that by the end of the day, I feel wiped out. I want to be able to spend quality time with my wife and kids, both one-on-one time and family time. Some weeks, that just doesn't happen as much as I want. We're constantly running from one thing to another. The thought of adding another child into the chaos honestly makes me feel drained just thinking about it. I love the family we have now. It's not too much. It's just right for me. I'm happy with 2 kids. But for me personally, a 3rd would be too much. I worry I wouldn't be able to give each child the attention they deserve. I don't want any of my kids to ever feel ignored or less loved because of the demands of a bigger family. I've tried to explain all of this to my wife over and over. I want her to understand where I'm coming from. I want her to see that it's not just me being stubborn or selfish, there are real, tangible reasons behind my feelings. But she still believes there's some middle ground, some way we can figure this out that would make us both happy. She keeps saying we just need to keep talking, keep trying different ideas, and we'll get there eventually. Before all this came up, we had even talked about me getting a vasectomy. I took it seriously. I even booked a consultation with a doctor to discuss the procedure. It felt like the right move at the time, something to put a clear boundary on the number of kids we'd have. It was a relief, honestly, to have that kind of certainty. But then, when the discussion about having more kids resurfaced 6 months ago, my wife asked me to put the whole vasectomy thing on hold. She said she wasn't ready to give up on the idea of another child. That felt like a slap in the face. Like, here I was trying to make a responsible decision about our family's future, and now I was supposed to pause that because she wanted to keep the door open. I was stuck in this weird limbo, trying to support her dreams but also feeling like my own feelings and boundaries were being pushed aside. It's been hard to find common ground, and every conversation about it feels like we're on opposite sides of the battlefield. And now we've reached a point where my wife, Karine, has admitted to me that while she doesn't want a divorce, she resents my refusal to give in and will resent me if I won't have more children with her, at least one more. I remember the day she sat me down, eyes watery but full of this fierce, almost desperate kind of determination. She told me, "Fred, I won't be able to help it. This burning desire for another child. It's like it's inside me, and it won't go away. Her voice cracked as she spoke, but the words hit me like a punch. She said flat out that she didn't think I'd even try her compromises anymore, like daycare 5 days a week, or bringing in our families more to help out, or her going back to that old job she hated just so we could afford it all. I told her straight up that it was too late to compromise when the kid was already here. That once a child is born, you can't just take them back like an unwanted gift. And honestly, I told her I can't be a dad who screws up his kids by ignoring one or more because I'm stretched too thin. That's when I laid it out plainly. I told Winnie she needed to make a decision once and for all. Either she accepts that we're done at 2 kids, and we work through any resentment, because I want us to stay married, or she ends the marriage so she can find someone else who's willing to have that 3rd child with her. I told her I'm firmly done. No more babies. No more pretending. Her face twisted in disbelief, almost like I just slapped her in the face with words. She said it wasn't fair to give her an ultimatum like this. Maybe she's right. But she also made it clear she wants to deal with this between us. No friends, no family, no therapists, just us. And for 6 months, we've made 0 progress. Instead, it's like the resentment is growing between us, twisting and deepening every day because I won't give her that 3rd child. Some nights, I lie awake listening to the soft breathing of our kids, thinking about how different things have become. I can feel the tension between Winnie and me like a thick fog in the house. The way she looks at me sometimes, like I'm the barrier between her and happiness. Or worse, the way she doesn't look at me at all, like I'm already a stranger. I never wanted it to come to this. I never thought a conversation about having more kids would become the wedge that could break us. But here we are. She says she's not ready to give up on us. But if this is the hill she's willing to die on, if having more kids is more important to her than the marriage itself, then I don't know where we go from here. I keep replaying all the memories of the last 8 years, how we dreamed about our family when we first got married, how we pictured a house filled with laughter and more than 2 kids running around. But life happened, and the reality was far more complicated. Pregnancy was tough on Corrine, especially the 2nd time. I remember those long nights she spent in the hospital, and how every day was a balancing act. Trying to be there for our older child who missed her mom desperately, while also supporting Corrine through her pain and hospital stays. I was working full-time, trying to keep everything from falling apart. Even now, it hurts to think about how strained everything got during that period. And then there's her sister, Betty. Our relationship hit a rocky patch during that time because of a fight over babysitting. Betty needed help 3 times while Corrine was hospitalized, and I just couldn't step up the way she wanted. It turned into a giant argument, and things between us haven't been the same since. We're civil now, but the friendship is gone, replaced by awkward polite nods. All of this stress, this emotional weight, just made me realize I couldn't do it again. The mental exhaustion, the financial strain, the tightrope walk of keeping everyone happy and healthy, it was too much. I'm proud of what we have, but I'm not sure I have the energy or resources to add another kid into the mix. I try to explain this to Corrine, but sometimes I feel like she hears me but doesn't really listen. Like there's this part of her that believes we can magic up a solution, some silver bullet that will make everything work. I'm tired, though. Tired of chasing compromises that never seem to land. And honestly, the vasectomy was supposed to be the line in the sand. I booked the consultation, took that step, thinking it would give us both peace of mind. But when Corrine asked me to put it on hold, to leave the possibility open, it felt like a knife twisting in my gut. Now, I'm stuck between my wife's wishes and my own limits, and I don't know how to fix this without someone getting hurt. Am I the bad guy for forcing my wife to choose between our marriage and having more kids?